Assess my pupils in distance learning? How can I observe their performance if they are at home? Is what I am usually using effective nowadays? According to Miller, teachers are challenged with trying to implement effective teaching in this distance learning environment, and assessment is certainly a part of it. Schools are struggling with grading practices. However, all of us will need assessment of student learning and performance. So, we conducted research regarding this, which involves K-3 modular and online distance teachers. They undergone an in-depth interview about their personal experiences, challenges, and effective practices that they employed in their teaching learning process. We found out that the most frequently used assessment by the ODL and MDL teachers was the written output. These assignments were much more open-ended than those in the traditional way of assessment, which is the written exam. However, they were generally more formal than online discussion. Challenges and concerns appeared to cut across all three of the assessment categories mentioned. First, academic misconduct such as cheating during examination, parental coaching during online assessment, parents and guardians who accomplish the modules themselves, and the availability of the key to correction in the modules. Contrary, DepEd is probing reports of academic dishonesty or cheating in its implementation of distance learning system. Education Undersecretary Diosdado San Antonio said that, quote, and unquote, simula't simula ay binigyan natin ng diin na hindi ito pwedeng gawin dahil hindi ito makakatulong sa pagtuturo ng honesty. Another challenge is the commitment to submit output, wherein according to Fidalgo, although there are deadlines for submitting outputs and answer sheets, students working at their own pace have some independence as to when they do their activities. However, in the study conducted by Dongle, they found out that most students cannot study independently, thus modules were often submitted late and mostly the answer sheets are blank. Research, it also revealed that some learners cannot finish their modules on time because they mostly spend their study time teaching their siblings with their modules and helping their parents in the field. It also mentioned that the reasons why there are late submissions are conflict between the schedule of distribution and retrieval of outputs and the schedule of the parents because some of them are also working. At the same time, one of the big challenges in assessing the performance of the pupils is lack of communication with parents because of different reasons, like some parents do not have cell phones, some cannot afford to buy load all the time, some do not respond immediately, and others cannot be contacted. Another thing is that students find it difficult to adapt to an online learning environment immediately after traditional classroom learning. Due to the sudden change, they are not able to adapt to the computer-based learning. Students who have been always studying in the traditional classroom mindsets are not able to focus on online platforms. Teachers may experience a hard time expressing instructional content to their pupils, especially long and complex assessments. The physical distance also proposed a difficulty in obtaining students' level of understanding in terms of the content of the lesson. Since instructional content are not responded to immediately, teachers may have a hard time knowing whether the class is too challenging or too easy for the class. Nevertheless, if there is a bad side, there is always the good side. In these times of distance learning, it is important that the assessments designed for students demand that they apply their knowledge to new and novel situations. One of the effective practices is that all the learning activities and performance tasks, as well as the authentic assessments developed, should be aligned in most essential learning competencies or MEL. Another thing is that using project-based assessment, which produce a single substantial piece of work that assess across multiple criteria. Learning journals where students write regularly about their own learning. Portfolios are also a perfect assessment tool for distance education, and rubrics help ensure teachers are grading fairly and consistently from assessment to assessment and student to student. Use of synchronous technologies as and when appropriate, whether the means is through Google Meeting or even text, chat, or video call, the issue of distance can be closed by receiving live feedback. We also recommend to ask help to some stakeholders like barangay officials and GPTA officers, volunteer parents and guardians for the better communication with the parents and the learners. Teaching is a very extreme and challenging endeavor, especially in this time of pandemic. Yet, one of the most rewarding things that we teachers experience. We are the real heroes even without capes and costume. I am Rona Rose B. Remoto, one of the real heroes in this new normal.